quarterly. Most of you remember that our church participated in a mission trip to the Dominican Republic. We had about 35 people that went down. And one of the people that went was William McKellum. And if you also remember that last Sunday, that number up there on my treasury dropped from $1,552 to $1,052. And I did that once I got the statement. But William had asked for our class assistance in helping with the mission trip, $500 donation. So we know that the group all got back, and William asked if we would be willing to let him share some pictures and stuff about what happened down there. So we're certainly going to turn it over to William here in just a second. I also want to tell you that the lady from the class down the hall that invited us to come to the Christian Life Center last Sunday for that thing, she wanted to thank the class for coming, you know, and participating in that event. Do we have any other announcements before we let William start?
This can go around your room. People can sign this. It's for Wednesday afternoon's blood drive. Put your name in this top section if you can bring a snack. Put your name in the bottom section if you want to help in the canteen. Some of you have already signed because you were in the vine. Some of you just got here, so I'll pass it started here and pass it the whole room. Thank you. I'll come back and pick it up at the end of Sunday school.
Okay, we also have ice cream social on August 24th. The bulletin today is full of meetings and things, and this coming week's going to be a really special week with the evening revivals down at the Pavilion, and then on the 24th, the church-wide luncheon. We had just one service next Sunday at 10 o'clock, so there won't be a Sunday school next Sunday. But anyway, I'll start this around. There's already a few people got their names on this list. I see Kathy's gonna eat ice cream. Okay, so anyway, other announcements. All right, well, William.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for letting me do this. You know, so often we give money and then we never hear. We never hear what happened or where did my money go? Did it actually go to help? And I thought, well, I talked to Steve. I said, I just went. Let me share some stories. What you're going to see are people from this church in the pictures, and I'll tell you some stories about what we actually did when we went down to the Republic. By the way, I didn't take this photo. This isn't an internet picture. This is how beautiful the Dominican Republic is. There are plenty. Raise your hand. Have you been to the Dominican? Anybody? Have you just been to the resort? We were not at the resort. We were not at the resort at all. We were not at all. But there are some absolutely stunning and beautiful places in the Dominican. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Dominican. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the trip itself. So this is our theme. This is the theme of the trip, and it wasn't actually announced. It just emerged. And this is a hymn. Whom shall I send? You know, here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I've heard you calling in the middle of the night. I will go, Lord, if you lead me. I will hold you people in my heart. And it was really amazing because this is a mission-minded church. And I'm really proud of that. We have a lot of people that go and do a lot of different things, whether it's financial or actually going out and building wheelchair ramps. In this particular case, we sent 35 from our church. And this just doesn't happen overnight. This is a well over a year-long planning process that goes into advanced trips that the ministers took to getting everything squared away so that we actually have something meaningful to do when we get there. I do want to answer any questions as we go, rather than holding it at the end. So if there's something blurted out, raise your hand. Let me know, because I want to make sure that if you have any questions, you get answers here. I thought I'd put this in here just kind of give you an idea of where we were. This is Dominican. Dominican is a landmass, and it's kind of 2/3 Dominican, and then 1/3 is Haiti. There's a very well-defined border there. Haitians don't come to Dominican Republic, Republicans do not, DR people do not go to Haiti.
Why is that?
They just don't. They are very two distinct countries. And, you know, Haitians speak French, Dominicans are Spanish, and it's Spanish. We actually landed here, I'll just use one pointer here. We landed in Santo Domingo, which is the capital city. Santo Domingo, translate anybody? Anybody know Spanish? Holy Sunday. Santo, you know, see, we sing that, actually there's a hit up, Santo, but Holy Sunday. It's a very, when you land in Santo Domingo, it's very, much like Miami. It's a very progressive city, they have a great airport there. If you've landed there to go to, you know, the resorts, you'll find it's not so unlike any U.S. airport. Go outside of the Santo Domingo, it starts going down very rapidly. This little red line here is Arjona. That's a province. It's also a city. That's where we were. So we took a bus, and there's really just not a good way to get there. You pretty much go to Santo Domingo. I got a little pointer here. Yeah, I got a little pointer on my computer. So we land in Santo Domingo, and this is all mountains, like right through here in this area. And so we hug the coast, and we landed in. Okay, so let's go on here. So the first thing we did was we met on a Tuesday night. Now there's lots of meetings up to this point. I'm going to forget those, but we had a packing party. And for the packing party, one of our members, John Wilson, if you know John, is a super duper traveler. He had all kinds of privileges and rights with American Airlines, and he did some amazing things for us through that. But one of the things he was able to do was able to get us 30 free bags of luggage that we could take supplies with. And at $35 a round trip, or each way, that saved the church a lot of money. So we brought the bags, everybody brought some bags, and we packed all kinds of supplies for the trip, snacks, things that we couldn't get in Dominican Republic. And then, of course, there's Paul there, and he's giving us some wonderful advice and instructions on when to show up, which was on Thursday morning at 4:15 in the morning for a 4:30 a.m. departure to Charlotte. So Terry Kreisman and whoever the other bus driver was, it took us down to Charlotte Air Force. So that was a quick ride. Everybody had a lot of excitement and expectation of a great day. And we get to Dominican, and now we start assembling our characters. Amy?
I have one little quick thing. The ice cream social is August the 24th. If you have an ice cream maker at home, but you don't want to make ice cream, if you'll just let me know, I don't mind coming and getting it, or if you want to bring it by the church and drop it off, and I'll make the ice cream here. So just wanted to make sure, and if you don't want to make ice cream, please still come. Don't come because you didn't make ice cream, okay? So please still come, and still sign up, that's fabulous. Ooh, Coke, that's good. It's just ice cream, but if you wanted to bring something else, that's fine, but it's just homemade ice cream, okay? Bye, love you guys. Don't disappoint me, bye.
So we got off the plane, and here we are outside of the airport, and we had a bus and we had a truck to put the luggage on. This is a very common vehicle for transporting down to Dominican. After we got everything on, we put a net over it and put a tarp on there. Tanner, he went to Burger King, and he was proud of that, so oh, we got all those kind of good pictures. Well, I thought of our bus as a toaster. It was small, very small. I couldn't hardly sit on it. But we all got in there, and we were only allowed to, by the way, just to bring a backpack and a carry-on. That was for the whole week. That was what we were limited to. But it was all shorts, t-shirts, so it really worked out. This is the name of the hotel that we stayed at. I'll butcher it. El Cañato. translations, anybody Spanish, remember your high school Spanish at all? I had to ask, cause I was like, okay, I don't really remember this, but, I was told that it was, translated roughly to the Suntan Hotel. And Gastronomico, I guess, is a restaurant, but, actually, it was very nice. We went 2 years ago, Sandra went with me, and we had a very, very Spartan place to stay. This was not
We
Spartan.
did not say anything like that.
No, this was actually a very nice treat, and we were very pleased that we actually had hot water and air conditioning.
The first time we went, we stayed at the mission house.
Yeah.
You had no hot water, so when you took a shower, you put,
Yeah.
you put your left hand in.
Yeah.
We bathed in hearts.
Yeah, it was very nice, but
Banana spiders.
yeah, where we were, we were totally on another part of the island, and so this was actually a very common place for groups to stay. This was the view right outside of the hotel. It was absolutely stunning. It was absolutely stunning. It was a beautiful place. Had a beautiful coastline. It was difficult you couldn't really go swimming here. We had about a quarter-mile walk. If you wanted to go swimming, there's a little beach right here, a little beach out here, and I'll show you. There was a trail that we took, I'll show you. And then here's the beautiful sunrise. You can watch the sunrise here on the East Coast. So every day they fed us breakfast and dinner at the hotel, but lunch was on our own. There are no, in Santo Domingo, we saw Wendy's, but where we were, there wasn't anything. So every day we had volunteers that made sandwiches, and you got your choice of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich or a ham sandwich. That was it. And but it was so hot. I lost my appetite. It was so hot down there during the day. Going to our first stop. So the first stop is we had 4 projects that we did, and I'll tell you each one individually. So this was the path to this gentleman's house. His name is Daniel, and we had a number of folks. Everybody went there first just to see what the house looked like. The house was already partially completed, and you can see they're very resourceful. There's mountains in the background there. You have fences or pretty much whatever you can find, and in this case, it's just small trees that they had cut off, and then they put barbed wire in between them. So this is Daniel. This is the gentleman that worked at the water plant. This is why we built the house. I'm going to show you some real short video. It's 10 seconds long, or maybe a little longer, but just to give you an idea, what you see behind is the original house. It's a very basic house. It has no heat, no air conditioning, no windows, no electricity. I don't even think it had water in it. But this is where he lived, and then he worked at the water plant. So let's see if I can make it work here. There's no sound, but I'll try to see if I can. It says, "Hi, this is my house. I'm Daniel." You can kind of see it's a tin roof, nothing here. And here's at the very end. This is what the house looked like after we got done. Remarkable difference. He's so happy, and we've got some more pictures I'll show you along the way. But unlike the last time, we were able to actually finish this house, and it was moving ready when we left. So it was a very good thing. One of the members that lived down there, her husband had a drone, so we bought the drone and did all this. It was really fantastic. Yeah, it was kind of cool to see.
Wait, what about the supplies and all that you need, materials?
Yeah, they were actually already there, so we were pretty fortunate from that perspective.
Did you have air conditioning in there?
No air conditioning. It's all cross, and you can kind of see right here in the back of this picture. No screens either. You just open the windows, close the windows, and it's. I asked several locals. I said, "Don't you get hot?" No. Used to it. Here's our preachers. Jonathan, he's in charge of our missions now. And so this is like the first day, and this is what the job site looked like. We were just kind of getting assembled here, and so I just have this picture. So the house was partially completed by another group, and we didn't do that. But what we did do was finish it. So you can kind of see the bare bones. It's block, and then it has stucco on the outside. And what you see is this gentleman here is mixing concrete. You don't have a concrete mixer. You got a slab, you got a pile of dirt, you got a pile of concrete, bucket of water, and you put it on the ground, and then you take a shovel and you mix it up just like this one. That's very resourceful. This big bucket of water on the right is very, was our water. And in order to fill the bucket, there was a stream. We went down and filled buckets and took like a fire brigade and brought it back. I haven't quite figured out what these two guys in the background are doing. I'm sorry. I took a picture. I think they were friends or something. I don't know. They were glad to see each other. I couldn't quite figure that out. Then our youth started getting involved. The Kinnaman boys, man, they jumped in. If you know the Kinnaman boys,
Yeah.
they are very active and they're amazing and unbelievable amount of energy. I wish I had even half the energy. So if you've ever been in construction, I mean, this isn't uncommon what you're going to see here, but we're just bringing the concrete in bucket by bucket, and this is one of the masons that was there. They just had a big squeegee board and they smoothed out the concrete. And then after that, this was you know, we don't have a big concrete truck. We're bringing it in by hand. And this is one of the fine basins here. And what he took was an orange pigment, and he was putting it on top, and then he just had a hand trowel. He didn't have a big power trowel or anything like we would have here in the United States. And he was finishing the floor by hand.
Was that the color in that big yellow?
Orange.
Orange.
Yeah, maybe the picture isn't quite. You know, it was orange.
Was there electricity at all there?
There was none. Not at this particular point, but there's an outlet. You can kind of see the outlet right here. They did pre-wire each room with 1 or 2 outlets. So he is gonna have electricity.
Where will the power come from, William? I mean.
I tell you what,
Generator?
there wasn't an inspector anywhere. I saw 2 wires running from another house down the road. And there's no power meter outside. I was looking for it going, okay, what's going on with this?
Just run it from house to house?
Pretty much, yeah, and the wires are bare. They're just up there in the air. I mean, there's no insulation. I mean, it's a very basic place. Very basic. Yeah, we won the birth lottery by being here in the United States. I can tell you that. This was an interesting, so we had one of our members drop out, and Robbie, Jennifer's husband, invited one of the firemen from Highlands to come. And he was a really interesting young man, very active. Well, what he did was he brought a huge bag of candy. He was tipped off. And he knew to do this. I should have thought to do this. So he just walked outside of the house, and he found a couple of kids and said, "Hey, you want some candy?" It was like unbelievable, because then they go tell their friends, and he was handing out candy, and it was a real blessing for these kids because they don't get candy. Candy's not popular. Here he's handing out candy, and he's trying to just one of the things that Paul wanted us to do is make a point to work. We're just not there to build a house, but there to build relationships. And so he was very, very good with this, and the kids absolutely loved it. Not a lick of English, not a lick of Spanish, but it's amazing. Give a kid candy. They were so happy to see him. This was not uncommon though. The bus was one mode of transportation, and in the back of the truck, which we don't do in the United States anymore. I don't think we're allowed to ride pickup
You're
trucks.
16 or over.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, well, down there, it doesn't matter. We were riding in the back of the truck. Yeah, yeah. So another project we did, I'm gonna come back to the house in a minute. Another project we did was Leo and Amanda Castillo. If you know them, they've got 2 small children. Diego, you can probably hear him in the
That's
dialogue.
our daughter and son.
There you go, there you go.
2 grandchildren.
Yep.
His
And,
mama is Mama Marcia.
Yep, and Mama Marcia was just wonderful to us. So we had a large group, and the group we went with, Sandra and I, was a lot smaller, so we needed another project. So they created this project, and it's a security wall for Mama Marcia. As I understand it, they paid for the materials, but we provided the layer. So the church didn't actually buy the materials. Now, we did buy the materials for the other house, for the other children, but for this one, we needed, and everybody just hopped in, and they got started. And this is what it looked like. It was just a hole in the ground, and I'll show you some more pictures. And we were just the general labor. They had masons that would lay the block, put the rebar in. But after a while, they started letting us do some things. So it was here, Tanner's moving some rock. You can see that's Jonathan's daughter, Allison, there.
Did Mama Marcia cook for you?
Every day. Every day, and that wasn't expected. And so we were bringing her sandwiches, and here comes a big old pan of rice and chicken and everything. I was like, oh, where's some of that?
She was in heaven, she enjoyed that.
And I think her mother actually lives in the house too. And I think her husband died, and so she's there. That big old pile of block, it got moved a number of times, and we did that. I was really surprised though, here it's 98 degrees and this guy's got a hoodie on, and I don't know, I mean, he didn't get hot. It just amazed me. So you can see here, I got a lot of pictures, I'm just gonna kind of go from kind of fast here. So, you know, here's one of the Kenma boys there, he's actually starting to put some mud out. I had to stop on this one. There's a chicken. I just sat down and looked at our chickens. Our chickens are nice, big chicken. That's a chicken, and they have chickens everywhere down there. But that's a full-grown chicken. I guess they just don't feed their chickens much. Yeah, I had to take a picture. Moving some dirt. This was a pretty common thing. We had a lot of youth, and they just jumped in. Never heard a complaint ever from any of them. And we're moving block. The fireman fireman brigade, bucket brigade. That was very common for us trying to move things because we want to keep everybody. So there's Jonathan there, taking a quick break. He was really just very, very good. Jennifer moving some block. Lots of block. Leah moving some block. Allison moving some concrete here. Yeah, that's what we did. It was hot too. It didn't rain. We had one night where it rained overnight, but every day it was nice. And the Masons that were there, they didn't speak English, but you know, it's amazing what you can do with communications, hand gestures and whatnot. Put that here, come with me. It's pretty universal.
Is that some of our youth?
Yeah. Yeah, and actual laying the block and making sure the wall goes nice and straight, they did, but what we did was we had to fill the holes in between with concrete or cement, and then we had to fill, everywhere there was this rod, we had to fill that. This is a solid wall. Whenever it got done, it was pretty amazing. So we're starting to build it up here a little bit. This side, this empty lot, as I understand it, was like a relative's lot, and it was unoccupied. This is where all this vegetation is. That's Mama Castillo. That's her house. So before they just had a very temporary fallen down fence, basically.
What's the reason for that wall?
Security. It's not dangerous, but this is very common to see these walls, and you'll see the walls will be finished up on that when it's all done. I wouldn't say, I never felt danger. I mean, but we were always with the group. Yeah, they were gonna do this. So here I am. I had to take this picture because I worked on the house 2 days, and the outside of the wall is stucco. And so my job that day, remember that? What was that movie? Wax On, Wax Off? Yeah. So my job was I was given a lava rock, which you can see here in my hand, and they said go stand on the outside of the house. And because of my height, you can see my ladder was 2 city blocks. And I could reach all the way up to the top, and somebody else did the lower part. And what they wanted us to do was to knock the edges off of that stucco, make it smooth. And I was covered in, it looked like lava rock. I was covered in black sawdust all day long. But that's what I did all day long, was waxed on and waxed off.
Did you paint it?
No, and I'll tell you why. Sandra hired a painter at my house to paint, and I said, I'll be doggone if I'm gonna go down and paint a house in Dominican Republic. Sandra's hired somebody to paint my house. Sorry, Sandra, but I let somebody else do the painting. I'm not a painter. But this is kind of interesting. It kind of gives you an idea. So they brought a 5-gallon bucket of paint and said to our youth, okay, we want to paint the house inside and out with 5 gallons. And that was it. Now, this was the primer, okay? This was the primer. Good. Daniel showed up every day. This is his house. He was heavily invested in that, and that was one of the requirements, I think. So here you can see a few of the youth there. Robbie's got the roller, and probably wouldn't fly here in the United States, but that was how we did it. So every night we had devotion. Very important. It was very important to bring everybody together. And I got a chance to do devotion one night. They asked for volunteers, but Jennifer did the first night, and we always asked. Because the group was so large, we had to break up into smaller subgroups. But we typically took it by project, and we just asked, what was their high for the day? Each person got to give a testimony. What was your high for the day? What was your low for the day? And then what was your God moment for the day? What did you see that where God was at work? And then we had the group pick one of everyone's and then report back to the group. And then we generally had some sort of testimonial or a Bible verse or something that we would review. I was fortunate and I got to do it. And if you go back to the very beginning when I talked about the theme, that is where I used it. I started talking about comfort zone because a lot of these folks, we were way outside of our comfort zone. And the comfort zone could be something like, well, I'm in a different country, nobody speaks my language, I'm staying I don't know the food, I'm having to ride in a bus the size of a toaster. I mean, there's all kinds of things that would be out of your comfort zone. Another comfort zone, which I talked to somebody on the side that did this, was before each meal, we asked for volunteers to pray. Well, that's public speaking. People can be terrified by it. And I talked to one young lady that she said, I've never done this before. And she was scared to death, and she did. And I said, no, you got outside your comfort zone, you grew, that was good. I mean, I thought that was good for her. But it was really interesting to see, see people and how they adapted to being outside of their normal routine during the week. So we got there on Thursday. It was a long day. Gosh, we left at 4:30 in the morning. We actually didn't get to the hotel. Once we landed and got everybody assembled, it was still a 4-hour ride to where we had to go. It was almost 9:30, I think, when we got there. We hadn't even eaten yet. And so they had some food for us, and then we got to go to bed. Then we got up early next morning, Friday and Saturday we worked. Sunday we went to church. And so this was the church that we went to. If you know Spanish, Bienvenidos, welcome. And it was an hour and a half, all Spanish. Yeah. Listen, I took high school Spanish and oh gosh. And my Google Translate didn't work because of where we were, the internet was just not good. But this lady here was the music leader, and it was all a cappella. So she started singing, and then everybody started singing, no hymnals. They did have a few sheets of a small book that had the words for a lot of the songs, but they did a lot of the same songs. A lot of clapping, a lot of singing. This is the outside of the church. Iglesia Evangelica Dominica is basically the church of Dominican. Very small, very basic. It looks very similar to this Daniel's house. Look at that, block walls, louver windows.
Everything got chain link fences in front of it, then they just.
Yeah. But I didn't see any crime or anybody, I didn't see anything like that, but yeah, just security.
Did you go through the checkpoints with them? I'll tell you a little funny, when we were there, and it was, Leo and I were in the front seat, and Amanda was in the back with the twins in car seats. He said, they'll wave us on through. They're not gonna stop a gray-haired woman and 2 babies in the back, so they
definitely are looking, they are, that's the military had a very strong presence with checkpoints. So here we are singing that very same hymn in English, but, what we did.
What kind of food did y'all have?
It was amazing. The restaurant, there was a restaurant in there, and they cooked us breakfast and dinner every day. And it was.
You had like eggs and.
In the mornings it was eggs. We had pancakes one morning, yogurt. I mean, it was so different than what we had 2 years ago, because there it was all casseroles. Dinners where we had spaghetti one night. Surprisingly good.
We didn't have chef.
Yeah, it was a restaurant. It was a big difference from 2 years ago. 2 years ago it was ladies of the church that basically would cash flows, but this was original. It was very nice. It was a big difference. I think that was a big thing. Lots of clapping and singing. So I love this. I wish I had a video of this because this was just so impactful. So we're sitting there singing, and all of a sudden, the husband, that's the song leader, the husband gets up and he gets to a drum kit. And he's just up there running. And I just was like, man, this is really cool. And everybody was just really loving it. I mean, just amazing. At the end of the service, this is one of the Garmin boys here. I guess he's taken some high school Spanish, but he felt led to stand up and speak in Spanish to the group. And so while he was in the service, he wrote out like 5 sentences. And Leo was standing there and he was ready to interpret. He said, no, let me try this. I thought that was pretty amazing. High school Spanish actually helped him. And that's the actual ministry there. And then Leo, he's a great translator. Translated for Jennifer, and she expressed appreciation.
And he taught himself English.
Yeah.
He's very smart.
Oh my gosh, yes, they're extremely good. And then here's our group. This is the entire group. There we got a little group picture. A little time here. More candy. I'm gonna move ahead because I got some other projects. This was just right across the street. This is what the house looked like. It looks just like Daniel's house, and people live there. This is their home.
So William, were the 3 projects, all houses you did?
No, I'll share the other 2
Okay.
projects. I'm gonna move ahead a little bit here because we have some nice pictures of people, happy people. There's our hotel. We did take Sunday afternoon off and went to the pool. And pool.
At the hotel?
The teens loved it. The teens absolutely loved it. The adults did too. But it was a very nice pool. And I'm wearing my shirt here. We had this was one of 2 shirts that we had. We were standing in the pool. There was a path down to the beach that we could take, and several of the people went down and went swimming. Water was wonderful. And John Wilson, you can see him down here. He brought his snorkel gear, and he was snorkeling around talking about fish that were just swimming right off the coast there. I mean, it was amazing. I thought that was pretty cool. I had to put this in here. Paul actually did work. I had to wait, but I got a picture of him. So did Jennifer. Here she's standing on the outside of that wall too, or that may have been the inside. This is one of her youth here. And that's Gracie. I think you see her sing occasionally at 9 o'clock service. So the house is starting to shape up. You can see the inside of the house. I'm kind of going fast because I want to get to the other projects. And then we painted it, and that's the beginning of the painting. This was the we were assembling to get on the toaster bus. Back at the house again. I want to get to the other projects here. The walls coming along. Oh gosh, that's actually a video of Paul turning the shovel over. I just don't have a way of showing it right now. Youth busy. This young man was learning English, and he came up to me and tried to converse a little bit in Spanish and English, and he was real proud of his English. And you can see we're busy working. Amanda carrying some mud, more bricks. This was pretty typical for Paul. No, just kidding. Supervising, but he did really well, and so did Jennifer. They were great leaders. We're really blessed to have such good leadership in this church to be able to do this. Lots of bricks. The walls started to come together. These 2 young ladies were so proud of how they looked because they were covered in mud. But we had lots of fun there. Boys, they all got along really good, and they never complained. They were ready to dive in. Yeah, I mean, it's just great pictures and just a lot of great work. Okay, I want to zoom ahead because we have some other projects too. I'm not running out of time. Okay, another thing that we did was the clean water. That's actually it's an American charity that has these water projects down there. So they don't have water plants and all the things that we have here in the United States. It's very common to see where you want to cook, you want to brush your teeth, you want to drink a glass of water, you're going to get out of the blue cup. They do have water trucks that if you're lucky enough to buy a big black tank and put it on your roof, they'll come and put 300, 400, 500 gallons in there so you can take a shower. But, that would be if you were more on the higher end.
They have to buy their water.
So, we worked at the water plant. I was fortunate. We only allowed 4 to 5 people. It was a very small, operation. I was fortunate to be there one day, and help them, bottle the water and load it up. Here, we're actually, making samples up. So you can see, Ella here has, a water bottle in her hand right here. And we're putting labels on the outside because when we deliver the water, we go out in the street and we hand out 20-ounce bottles of water free to the community, just as an outreach. And it's a very basic operation. We get the water bottles here, we put the labels on. Here I put the label on. And we fill it with a cooler. And then we screw the top on. So, I mean, it's extremely basic. Loading up the water in the truck. And these little trucks are all over the place. And they have just like the ice cream man, he's got a little speaker on the top of the truck. You're pulling through and all of a sudden the music starts playing and people know that the water's getting ready to get them.
Tell them how you clean the bottles.
Oh yeah, it was, on the outside it was just soap and water, and then on the inside, they just rinsed it out, so. It was Clorox water on the outside, you know, be careful with that. They took us upstairs and, they had a supply of new bottles that they want us to put labels on, so we did 100, for them, because the bottles do wear out. I mean, they get beat up and get old and everything.
Now, is this water that people buy, William, or?
They do buy it, and so we're gonna go out, and so we're putting a seal on it right here. And then here Ella's putting just taking a basic heat gun and sealing up the top. That's a 5-gallon jug. So if you go up to Food Lion, I don't know, it's not been recent, but I think, you know, they sell those jugs, they're like $8 a piece or something. Nobody buy those? Does that sound about right? Yeah, you know, water coolers. Here, because this is a subsidy, and you can make donations to this, they sell them for about $1 a piece. But the average family in Bar Arona, I think lived on like $300 a month, so even $1 a month.
How much is their income?
About $300 a month.
What do people do for work?
Work, just various things. There's sugar cane down there, you know, masons, things like that.
Okay.
I don't think those guys were making a whole lot of money, that cane.
But if you buy that bottle from the government, it's like $8.
It's about $8 from the government.
But if you buy it from them,
So they sent us out on a milk run, and we were able to deliver bottles. And this is a very common house here, you know, it's, you know, take the bottle of water in,
Do people change the bottles?
and then we would take the empties back out and put them back in the truck and then recycle them. Or not recycle, but reuse. That was one of the nicest houses right there that we went to. That one was very nice, but look what's right next to it, right over here.
Yeah.
do people have running water in their homes?
Only if they have the tank on the top.
So how often would they get a jug of water like that?
Oh, every week.
Once a week?
And they collected money from them.
Yeah, now I didn't collect the money, but they had guys.
Pay to put this up on the system.
Yeah, they would collect the money from them.
I guess there's no plumbing in the houses?
No.
No, not really. Now Daniel had plumbing, but all it did was run out the yard. And I think he may have had a septic tank. This little boy, I took his picture. I just was he was so happy to get that bottle of water. Oh my gosh. But, you know, he wasn't the cleanest thing, you know, but he was just so happy to see him back at the house. Almost out of time, so it's in my head here. So I want to show the other two. Here, the house, the walls getting, you know, starting to shape up. So Bible school. So another thing they did was Bible school. Here they're making some beads, some bracelets that they gave out. It's random things you'll see. I was standing out in the street. Here comes a guy on a horse. Just random things. But Bible school was wonderful. Heather is just a blessing for this church. She led this. We had over 350 kids over multiple days that did the Bible school. We had this was one of them here. Where the kids were here, and it's just God's love. I mean, basically, that's the message you're trying to get out there. God's love. Christianity is like 75% of folks down there are Christians, and then the other 25% are unaffiliated at all. There's no other religions in Dominican that I could know. Lots of little kids. Lots of kids came out to Bible school, and unlike here, you gotta advertise it, you got people get coordinated. All you do is tell people out in the street, hey, we're having Bible school. All of a sudden, you got 100 kids showing up. It's amazing. I was just like, wow. And the moms loved to be there. Tanner here, we had a lot of kids show up, and so Heather told Tanner, we need an activity because we need to break up part of the group and have them go out and do something physical. Here's a ball, make up a game. And he did. He did. It was amazing. He's quite a remarkable young man. A lot of the Garmin boys here, the Thompson boys, lots of little kids. And here, I mean, something simple. So you can see this little kid back here. This was something where they took these little plastic funnels, took a little piece of a rubber band and a little piece of cloth from a t-shirt, put it over it, and then they took a bag of soap, they dumped it in there, and they made it into bowling balls. Just simple little things. All right, make sure I get to the last two stories here. Okay, I'm almost at the end, but these are two good stories. So, as a young man, Leo played baseball. He was pretty good at it. And he said that one of the things we brought about 6 or 7 dozen baseballs down there. And so he took a small group with him over to the field they used to play at, and the coach was still there. And so he wanted to bless the coach, so he talked to the kids, and they were over there practicing. And he gave the baseballs to the coach. And the coach said, you won't believe this. We're getting ready to enter a tournament. Whenever you enter tournaments, generally the teams have to bring baseballs to play in the tournaments. He said, we didn't have the money for the baseballs. There's your God moment right there. And so we gave him 5 or 6 dozen golf balls, but baseballs. Here's my last story here. So another thing that happened was Jennifer's husband, Robbie, works at the Highland Fire Department. He's a fireman through and through. And so one of the things that he did was, and we took a lot of these down here, was he wanted to bless the fire department with some fire gear. In the United States, there's rules that the fire department can only keep their equipment for 10 years. After 10 years, it have a date stamp in it. Doesn't matter what it is. It's out of date, you gotta get rid of it. Well, where does it go? Here's where it went. So we went into the fire department here, and this truck was actually donated by a group, a fire department out of Pennsylvania. It was a 1992 fire truck, and this was the whole city's fire department right here. We went there, and this is a city of about 50,000, 80,000. And you look at our nice fire trucks running up and down there, not so much here. Okay, so the reason why I want to linger here was he brought 18 fire suits. Now the fire suits had a 10-year service life. Some of them were in the closet, they were brand new. These were the fire suits that they had. Look how ragtag they looked, okay? I took that picture because what you're gonna see here is, they just put the jackets on for this photo, but these are light years ahead of where they were. You know, they have somebody else's fire department, okay. And then they talk about being dog tired. There's the dogs there. So they were doing a little exchanging some training things here, and apparently these fire suits had some sort of way to pull somebody to safety, and they were demonstrating that for them. And that's actually a fire pole. And some of the guys, some of the Garmin boys, and they like to ride. They wanted to go ride down the fire pole, so they did that. But just give you an idea. Each of those suits, he took 18 suits down there. Each suit was $1,800. Huge. Otherwise, I don't know what, they'd have to throw it away or dispose of it some way. So, all right, I'm at the end here. This is what the house looked like. It was almost move-in ready. It was actually beautiful. This whole area around him was just farmland, basically. He had a very remote area to get to. I think he had a scooter. He may have had a scooter. Gas down there was about $6 a gallon. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Oh, I love this. This is a great little story right here. So here's one of the Kinnaman boys. And so one of the things that we said was, well, Daniel says, I want you to come into my house and I want you to put your hand on the wall so I can remember what you did for me. So one of the Kinnaman boys, he went in there, he said, okay, I'm gonna do this. He put both hands in, and he puts his hands on the wall, and you start seeing it, not realizing it was oil-based paint, and we didn't have any way to, it wasn't latex, it was oil. So he looked like Papa Smurf there for the rest of the trip. I think they did find something finally to get it off of his hands, but he didn't know that it was that way. And so you can see the nice mural, and everybody signed their name there too. I mean, it actually, you can see the floor is kind of dirty, but you can see the
Did he have
orange
any,
pigment.
I guess he didn't have any appliances or anything?
Not at this particular point, but after we left, they were moving it
He
in.
was
And you
in-
can kind of see out the windows here how nice it looked. You know, we started cleaning up a little bit. Yeah, and you can see that was the, you know, the fence, and it's huge increase. I mean, just unbelievable where he was and where he's going. So, this is my last slide here. So there's a little drone picture. We got everybody waving.
Before you finish, can I email what we did back in 2019? It's just one picture.
I don't know if they'll get it.
Oh. I don't know what your email is.
Yeah,
You won't go through.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, so, the money that you gave went to build the house. Okay. And then, like, the church did take the Sunday school supplies, the church provided that, but it was just Sunday school supplies. So the materials went, you know, primarily there to, you know, to build that house. So, I would say we'll probably do it again in 2 years. If you wanna do this, it'd be a lot of fun.
Did you have technology at all while you were there?
Internet was not good. We did have Wi-Fi at the hotel, but like where I was there, I didn't pay up, because I thought, you know, I'm not, I don't want T-Mobile, I could have paid up and gotten, you know, their service, but I just said.
Well, you did the hotel employ a lot of people? You talking about what people did?
The hotel probably, well, they had a cook, they had a server, they had somebody working the front desk, and they cleaner, maybe 4 people. And then they had a gardener, and the gardener did amazing, I think.
So how did they, if they don't have running water, how did they use that for?
So that, where we were did have running water, and it did have, sewer. So, yeah, and so when we took a shower, it went down the drain.
People who live there?
Not many people do, no. And I don't know how you claim your land or anything like that, because, you know, you just go out and say, okay, here's my house, I'm gonna take this. I don't know, I didn't get a chance to explore that too much.
Well, we need to end this up, but
Yeah.
people going to 11 o'clock, so listen, thanks, William.
Thank you.
Thanks, Flash, for our support. Looks like a tremendous project, so,
Thank you,
hope
everybody.
everybody has a great week and see you back. Not in Sunday school, next Sunday is 10 o'clock service and then lunch afterwards, on the 24th, so, anyway. All right, y'all have a good one.
Here's the-
How you, Nancy?
Good.